In the NBA right now, only 4 teams have a top 10 rating for offense and defense. The defending champion Nuggets, the favorites in the East, the Boston Celtics, the MVP-led Philadelphia 76ers, and the Houston Rockets. I know it's early in the season, but this Houston squad looks very different to the team that went 22-60 last year. And a huge part of that is new head coach Ime Udoka. Now, I will never forgive him for messing up what he had with the Boston Celtics, because if he was still the Celtics coach, it'd be championship on championship. But we're not getting into that today. We're going to break down what he's doing in Houston to make them so good. First of all, Ime Udoka is a psychopath when it comes to basketball. He didn't come to Houston to rebuild. He came to win. I mean, just look at his facial expression after smacking down the Lakers by 34 points. This is what an elite mentality looks like. We're going to look at some film and break down some X's and O's in this video. But before that, we need to acknowledge that there isn't a better coach in the NBA when it comes to communicating with their players. Ime is a dog, and this squad full of young dogs rising up and veteran dogs trying to prove themselves is the perfect match. He knows the right things to say to guys to get them to buy in. He did it with the Celtics, and now he's doing it again. I'll give you one example. Before they went and smacked up the Lakers, he told Jalen Green, you guys got to go and ball out, because Austin Reeves made Team USA. He was on the big boy squad. You were only on the practice squad.
Play a matchup against a fellow USA guy. And he was on the select team. Reeves was with the big team, and so, you know, I reminded him about that.
Now, that clearly had an effect on Jalen, as he went out and dropped 28 points, 5 or 6 from downtown in the win, and held Austin Reeves to just 7 points. I told you, Ime's got that dog in him, and he's trying to bring that out of his squad too. Now, let's get technical with it. We all know that Ime took the Celtics and turned them into the best defense in the NBA on their way to the NBA Finals, and now he's trying to run that back in Houston. Over the last 3 seasons, not over the last season, but all 3 of the last seasons, the Houston Rockets have given up the most fast break points in the NBA. This season, they're giving up the least amount. Now, obviously, executing better on offense helps with that, but getting guys to buy in, to hustle back on every single possession is a huge part of that too. When they're in the half court, the philosophy is to switch a lot, but also when there's a mismatch after all these switches, give the help to make sure guys don't feel like they're left on an island one-on-one with the attacking player. At times, so much switching can make it look like a zone, but they're actually playing man. Here's one example of an almost perfect possession against the Golden State Warriors. Okay, what we're going to see here is Dillon Brooks is guarding Chris Paul. Andrew Wiggins wants to come up, set this screen. He thinks about it, but as you can see, Dillon Brooks lunging for the basketball. He thinks that CP is going to be able to beat Dillon Brooks. And so Andrew Wiggins is going to cut towards the hoop to free up this space over here. But Dillon does a great job of changing his stance. Look how he's got his left foot in front, and then he hops and switches. He flips his hips so that he switches his stance, stays with CP. Now Wiggins is trying to post up, and they're doing a great job of denying the entry pass. This is called fronting the post. I don't know if the red arrows, you can see them, but they're fronting the post right here. So they're denying that entry pass, right? Dillon Brooks is getting all up in Chris Paul's grill because the sideline in this scenario is acting like another defender. So as Dillon Brooks has closed off this angle, he's closed off all the options for Chris Paul other than this pass right here to Dario Saric, who's got Jeff Green guarding him. So Dillon Brooks stays with him. Chris Paul picks up his dribble. As you can see, they successfully denied the post entry. Gives it back to Saric, who gives it back to Chris Paul. Straight away, Dillon Brooks jumps up to him with the pressure, and he passes it to Andrew Wiggins, who now catches it, posted up at the 3-point line with his back to the hoop. He wanted to catch the ball here. Instead, look at the distance that the defense has pushed him out to by being aggressive. Okay, now remember I said they don't want to leave guys on the island? Dillon Brooks has now shifted in to try and provide some help right there. And Dario Saric, if he's smart, he'll cut to leave Chris Paul open. But then Jeff Green will be able to switch onto him. As this play unfolds, he does exactly that. He goes to the middle, and the low man over here comes across to help. Now, Houston is completely fine with leaving these shooters who are the furthest pass away open, because that's a very difficult pass to make. By the time the ball travels in the air over here, Fred VanVleet will be able to close out, and they'll be able to get back in rotation. So, this is what happens. Tate comes across to help on Saric. Dillon Brooks is still lurking to kind of carve options. Jeff Green is denying that pass up here to Chris Paul. You've got Gary Payton too in the mid-range. You know, if he's going to shoot midi, you'll live with that all day long. And then there's the open man in the corner. But like I said, it's got to go through 3 bodies, 2 defensive bodies to get to him. So as this play unfolds, it comes out to GP. He's not really that much of a shooter, so he gives the ball back to Chris Paul. Jeff Green is screened, so they simply switch. Now Dylan Brooks once again using his length to shut off Chris Paul's vision. And by the way, there's 2.5 seconds on the shot clock right here. So he gives the ball up. Gary Payton is once again looking for a pass, but this defender's right here. He can pick that off. Jeff Green's doing a good job keeping close. Everyone's staying attached right now. So with 1.3 seconds now on the shot clock, there aren't many options. Gary Payton shoots it. Somehow he scores it, but you will live with that. It's about making the opposition take the lowest percentage shot possible. And Gary Payton II shooting a 3-pointer on the buzzer of the shot clock, I'll live with that all day long. But that was the Warriors bench. Let's take a look at what they did against the defending champion Denver Nuggets. All right, so let's look at this defense. You've got Şengün guarding Jokic, right? The first thing you're going to see is Michael Porter Jr. is going to come down here, and the Houston Rockets are simply going to switch. So Dylan Brooks is then going to go on to Michael Porter Jr., and then you're going to see the play unfold. Now, because they've switched, you've got a body here. Jokic is great at finding this pass, splitting the gap, but because you've got a body here, it's going to make it a whole lot more difficult to catch it. He catches it with his left hand, but the defender gets his hand in between the ball and the defender, and he tips it away, forcing the turnover. So we go right here. Now we've got Aaron Gordon. He's looking to attack at Fred VanVleet because he's got a mismatch. If he gets inside, that's barbecue chicken. So he attacks. VanVleet does a great job of holding him up, and Şengün comes to double. Remember I said they don't want guys to feel like they're on an island? He comes with the help. And like Dylan Brooks in the previous possession, you can use the sidelines as defenders. Aaron Gordon can't go this way. He can't go this way. Fred VanVleet is blocked off this way, and Şengün has blocked off this way. So he has no options. And he's trying to pass over Şengün, who's taller than him, to Nikola Jokic. You don't want to leave Nikola Jokic wide open, but this is a very difficult pass to make. So they're going to live with that. He makes the pass to Jokic. Jokic is expecting to receive it on a cut. Aaron Gordon thinks he's spotting up for the shot, and it leads to a turnover. We've got another possession right here. Aaron Gordon's bringing the ball up, and he sees KCP is wide open in the corner down here. Fred VanVleet's going to have to hustle back to get to him. So he makes that pass. Freddie does a great job of closing out and stopping on a dime. Look at the acceleration, and then he just stops right up underneath him. Now you've got a mismatch. You've got, because you're coming in transition, you've got the Joker guarded by Dylan Brooks. So what's going to happen here? Houston are happy leaving this man open, far away. They're going to live with those passes. So as Fred VanVleet goes to contest the pass, Jokic catches it. Now, most teams would have Alperen Şengün attaching himself to Aaron Gordon and this man coming out here. But the Houston Rockets didn't do that. They have the low man, instead of being out guarding this 3-point shooter, he's actually going to pinch in here to not worry about that. Şengün, not the best defender in the world. He's looking a little lost. But you've got to remember, because this player is following Aaron Gordon, he has to be wary with the threat of Michael Porter Jr. shooting. So that play unfolds. Jokic, that no-look behind-the-head pass usually is money. But usually, teams don't have a low man here ignoring the shooter because Jokic is such a good passer. But Houston has said, we'll take our chances because by the time the ball gets from Jokic to his teammate over here, we'll have someone be able to rotate out to contest that shot. So they go with it and they force another steal. On this possession, what have we got? We got a simple screen roll action. They switch it. Now, as they switch it, look, so here's the screen roll. You're going to see this man come and set the screen. And this guy who's defending the ball is then going to go and defend the screener. And he's going to step up and defend the ball. So as that happens, right, Christian Brown is now attacking. But watch Uncle Jeff Green. Even though there's a shooter open here, look how deep he is. He's not Steph Curry, bro. You ain't worried about him catching that. He's going to stunt to help. And the defender does a great job of sliding his feet and getting his body in the way. Look how he's got his body and he's not reaching with his hands. His hand is up here. He's using his feet by sliding them. Okay, and that forces another turnover. And all these turnovers, they lead to easy transition points. Here we go in transition for the Denver Nuggets. You've got Aaron Gordon. He sees all of this space behind Dylan Brooks. He thinks that he's going to be able to cross him up and go and dunk the basketball like Aaron Gordon does. He hits him with a beautiful crossover. Look at that crossover he hits him with. But remember, like I said, they never leave you on an island. Jokic is all the way back here. So Şengün is able to pinch in and cause the little steal over there. We got one more possession, and this was a key possession because if you look at the scoreboard, it's a 3-point game with 14 seconds left. If Denver tie this, they go to overtime, they could lose the game. So the Rockets, here we go. What are they going to do? So you're going to see two screens. You're going to see Michael Porter Jr. screening for Aaron Gordon, who's going to come around the back door, and you've got Nikola Jokic screening for Reggie Jackson. Obviously, Jamal Murray didn't play this game, so you've got to factor that in, but still, look at the principles. Now, you don't want to switch with Jokic and Fred VanVleet because Jokic can shoot over the top of him or you can take him to the lane. But these two defenders, they decide to switch. So they go with the switch and great screen navigation. So instead of Michael Porter Jr. being open, if the screen had worked, they get the steal and they go on to win the game against the defending champions of the NBA. And a lot of this defensive improvement is thanks to the signing of Dillon Brooks, who now finally has a coach who can get through to him. Memphis said that he was the problem with their team last year, but Ime Udoka has started to bring the best out of Dillon the villain. He's efficient on offense, but look at what he's doing defensively. The other night he was in foul trouble against the Pelicans, but Ime trusted him to play the whole fourth quarter, and he changed the game. He locked up Zion, locked up Brandon Ingram. The Rockets went on an 8-0 run to win that game. Dillon Brooks sees the screen being set, so he makes sure he gets his front foot over the screen. That's how you go over a screen. Look at that. He stays hands not reaching. He's just using his hips to check Brandon Ingram, and he forces the deflection out of bounds. Here we go again. This time, he's matched up with Zion Williamson, and in theory, Zion's so strong, this should be a mismatch. But instead, he stays with him. He stays low. He stays poised, moves his feet. Fred VanVleet does a great job. Remember I said they're not worried about these guys here. They just make sure that you can't get to this. Fred VanVleet decides it's time for him to step up and help. And you've got Şengün pinching in a little bit. And that does a great job of getting the miss. And they go away again in transition. Here we go, guarding Brandon Ingram. Goes over the screen, stays on his hip. Şengün does a great job. Because Jeff Green, if you look at Jeff Green as guarding Zion, when Valanciunas rolls to the hoop, Jeff Green's going to pinch in. So even though Şengün may have some difficulty, you've got three defenders, and Şengün does a great job here. You've got 1, 2, 3 defenders, all contesting Brandon Ingram at the rim. And what's his option? He's going to spin 360 midair like DeMar DeRozan and throw that pass to the three-point shooter? I don't think Brandon Ingram's doing that. Here we go. Zion Williamson. Now look, he knows Fred VanVleet is helping. Fred VanVleet shouldn't be there. You know, look, they've got two players here, but Zion's not going to pass the ball through all of these guys to them. But even still, Dillon Brooks does a great job of not fouling, contesting the shot clean. He's really in his bag defensively. He might be all NBA defense this year. And then just look at this, right? So Zion's coming in. But Dillon Brooks is going to stunt. This is a stunt. A stunt is where you pretend that you're going to come across and block the lane and then get back out to the player you're guarding. But because he stunts, it makes Zion Williamson pick up his dribble, try and throw that pass, and that's picked off for a steal. We've got one more here. He goes through the screen again. Now he says to Şengün, I've got him, you can recover. Miscommunication there, okay? There's a miscommunication. Brandon Ingram, he could loft this pass over. Jeff Green will be there though, and this man will drop back. Or he could take this shot. He's going to take the shot, but look at that contest from Dillon, right up in his grill. And there's a miss. Because he respects his coach, Dillon Brooks has bought in and isn't just chucking up whatever he wants like he did with the Grizzlies. The result, he's shooting 55% from the floor this year compared to 39% last year. He's hitting 53% of his threes compared to just 32% last year. Now I know that the numbers might not stay so high, but you got to admit that his shot selection has improved. Now let's look at the offense, because last year Houston looked like an AAU team, and now they're playing great team basketball. And this isn't luck. Ime did this before in Boston. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about secondary assists. If you don't know what a secondary assist is, it's also called a hockey assist. That means there's a pass, say it's me, a pass to my teammate who then makes the assist. That's a secondary assist. That means there's more than one pass on the offensive possession. It's a key to get the ball moving multiple times in a possession to get their defense scattered, and having a high amount of passes leading to assists is great for any offense. Now, Ime was an assistant for Greg Popovich, and you know in San Antonio they love to pound the rock and get the ball moving. And that's probably where he learned this. The Celtics were 26th in secondary assists before Ime Udoka became their coach, and he brought them up to second in the league. The Houston Rockets were 27th in this category last year. Now they're third. A big part of those assists is skilled big man Alperen Şengün, who Ime Udoka is trusting more than ever. If you watched Houston last year, you'd know they didn't utilize him properly. But if he keeps playing like this, he might just be an all-star in a few years, just like I predicted before he was drafted. But that's another conversation. Alp is averaging 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, and he's doing it efficiently too. The 21-year-old is shooting 60% from the field. So Fred VanVleet has the ball. As you can see from his eyes, he's looking down low, because Jeff Green has a mismatch on the smaller Kevin Huerter. But there's 2 defenders here that are blocking that pass from being made. And Kevin Huerter can reach here to deny that pass. So this is what I was talking about, secondary assists. He simply gives the ball to Şengün, who's got a much better angle. Look at the difference here. If Fred VanVleet tries to make this pass, he's got 2 defenders that could potentially intercept. If Şengün makes this pass, he's just got to get it over Domantas Sabonis. There's a secondary assist. Jeff Green goes to work and puts it in. Let's have another look at this example. You can see the post player with the size mismatch trying to get position. Defender's doing a great job trying to front him. And now, because the defender's fronted him, remember what I said about sealing? I said this in the Clippers video I did last week. When you're on the post with a smaller defender, you can seal him and get an easy opportunity at the basket. Because this is a tough pass, he's going to feed it to Alpi, who can then just loft it over once more. And he does exactly that. This time it's a little bit of work for the bucket as the defense collapses, but they still get it to go. And they get so much great stuff out of the VanVleet, Alperen Şengün screen roll. So as you're going to see here, Şengün is going to set the screen and Fred VanVleet is going to come around it. So this happens. Boom. Now Şengün's rolling to the hoop. As he's rolling to the hoop, because Valanciunas has committed to Fred VanVleet, this defender has to pinch in. But Şengün is an amazing passer, so as the defender has 2 feet in the painted area, this man in the corner is wide open. Boom. He shoots it. He scores it. Now, remember that play, because this time they go back to a pick and roll. Alperen Şengün sets the screen for Fred VanVleet. He's rolling to the hoop. And now the corner shooter is open. Look at what Şengün does, okay? Watch his eyes, watch his body. He looks up. He gives that fake pass. This is why they're saying he's the baby Jokic, which makes both of these defenders sell to the corner. Valanciunas is worried about the ball as well. And now look who's open. Dylan, the villain, your new favorite defender. He's open and he knocks it down. Talked about his efficiency. There you go. This is why Ime Udoka, best coach in the league. Another screen roll. This time Fred VanVleet doesn't use the screen. He rejects the screen. And now he's attacking downhill. So he's brought his man with him. And they play a drop. The Kings are playing a drop right here. So Domantas Sabonis is attached to Fred VanVleet, leaving Şengün wide open. He's not the best 3-point shooter in the world, but you got to be worried. He can still hit wide open ones. So now Sabonis lifts up. Kevin Huerter is also worried about this shot. So Jeff Green is going to do a great job of cutting off the ball straight to the hoop. And Şengün makes it look like he's going to shoot. He makes it look like he's going to get this shot off. So they're worried about him. Instead, he does a great job flowing it inside to Jeff Green for the easy pass. Another VanVleet Şengün screen roll. Here we go this time. Beautiful pass by Fred VanVleet here. Now the defense has fully collapsed. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Denver defenders in the paint. You've got Jeff Green wide open here. Dylan Brooks does a great job because he's going to screen or try and set a screen to stop this man closing out to the corner. And Şengün just makes the right read. See how Dylan's using his body to block off the defender. But once again, another beautiful pass from Alperen Şengün. And then here we go, posting up on Nikola Jokic. This is a tough task, and Şengün loves to post up way low on the block. Most guys would probably catch it about here. Şengün stays low on the block. As he does that, though, he's watching, surveying the floor, and he sees Reggie Jackson's looking right at him. He's saying, okay, if he comes to help, VanVleet, you're going to knock this down. I hope you're ready. Here we go. He starts to back down Jokic. As he sees Reggie Jackson commit to try and come to help, this is a lot of space for him to cover now because it's one pass away. He makes his move. Probably takes longer than he should have, but VanVleet has done a great job of moving down the side of the court because you want to stay in line with the ball, because if he was still up here, it would be impossible to make a pass out to him. So he does that. Reggie Jackson's completely lost, worried about Alperen Şengün. So Fred VanVleet open, he hits it. And then we talk about scoring the basketball. Now this move is special. Alperen Şengün's got this down to a T. Looks like Dirk Nowitzki, bro. It looks like Dirk. That little one-legged fadeaway jumper. In fact, I may do a whole breakdown about Alperen Şengün. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Look, the Houston Rockets offense has got them top 5 in three-point percentage right now. That's elite shooting numbers. And if they can maintain this, you might just be seeing them boys in the playoffs. But what I love most about Ime Udoka as a basketball coach is that he coaches every single little detail. On this play, Tari Eason takes a terrible shot and then doesn't hustle back on defense. Ime immediately pulls him out of the game and benched him. But he made sure to stop and explain why. Even though this may seem unnecessary, he's making sure players don't develop bad habits. Look, there's more to coaching than just X's and O's and breaking down plays. A huge factor at the NBA level is how you manage the personalities and the egos on your team. And being the head coach of the Houston Rockets is a tough task. You've got veteran players like Fred VanVleet who have been all-stars, and you've got to mix them in with guys like Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. who are young players that were the second and third pick in the NBA draft. You've got players who are veterans trying to regain their reputation around the league, mixing them in with young rising stars like Alperen Şengün. You got old heads like Uncle Jeff Green coming off the bench, and you've got to factor that in when you're bringing out young guys like Tari Eason. Overall, no one can dispute that right now Ime Udoka is the coach of the year, and you saw what he did with one season in Boston. You're seeing what he's doing already in Houston, and that is why he is the best coach in the NBA. I got a lot of respect for Pop, a lot of respect for Spo, a lot of respect for these other guys, but Ime Udoka, you finally got a head coach that's a real dog with it. One that won't take any of the, excuse my language, from the players. Yeah, this is a family-friendly channel. I'm very excited to see how the Houston Rockets keep playing, and they're still a young team, even though they got some vets now, but let's see if they can make the playoffs. Let me know in the comments what you think, and please subscribe to this channel. I'm getting more consistent with it. I'm bringing you more breakdowns. Let me know in the comments what breakdowns you want to see. We can do a Şengün breakdown. We can do other little aspects of the game, the things that ESPN and them man are not telling you. I got you covered. It's all love. You're rocking with a hoop genius. Get buckets.